everyone. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast and Merry Christmas. We made it to December. It's unbelievable. We did it. And we are going to have a wild week this week for the Hallmarkies podcast because not only am I traveling, I'm going to be traveling this week, but we have so many movies to recap this weekend. So it was bad planning on my part, but we will have, I think, 4 episodes of recaps for this weekend's Hallmark movies. So that's going to be fun. And today is our first of the recaps, and we're going to be talking about A 90s Christmas and Deck the Walls. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Terry's here.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too.
I'm exhausted. What a week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like in some ways I'm like, well, maybe it's good to have a trip this week because I am so exhausted. But others I'm like, what was I thinking?
I'm more exhausted from watching Christmas movies than actual Thanksgiving. That was stress-free. That was actually
Oh, that's
stress-free
good.
this year.
Did you had a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, good Thanksgiving. It was stress-free. Nothing burnt. Everything
Your
was well. It was all good.
did
I
your
didn't burn
arm
my
did
arm
your
this
arm
year.
make things difficult?
No, because I'm out of the swing. I'm
Oh,
almost
good.
back to the swing of it. It's not, but I feel the cold and I feel the rain, so I've joined that club.
Oh,
Um,
you do your cookies for
No, I didn't
Thanksgiving?
because it was raining and my arm was too sore. But like I,
Mm.
I bought a flan, so I did right. I was like, I'm just
Oh,
buying
okay.
dessert. But I made cornbread, so I have to make cornbread. If I didn't, there would be a
I love
revolt.
cornbread.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I might have cornbread in like top 10 foods, like favorite foods. It is so
I
good.
it does depend on how somebody makes it. And I thought I screwed it up this year because I put too much milk, but
It
it
can be
ended
a
up
little
coming out
dry,
pretty
but
good.
oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mm.
was afraid because I was like, I put too much milk and I had to extra cook it. I wasn't paying like I just screwed up that way, and it ended up coming out pretty good, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah. 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 Well, I went to my friend's house for
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
that's
I've been
good.
there before. My friend Jen, her family's so accommodating and kind, and it was great. It was delicious, the food, and it's nice when you're just a guest because you don't do anything.
Oh,
Like
I
I
long
bought
to
I
be a
bought a
guest one
pecan
day.
pie from my
Great.
my friend Marie Callender's made the
Yeah,
pie.
absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any pie this year. We usually
Oh, no pie?
no, because we usually get like apple and coconut from the kids' school. But
Uh-huh.
so much stuff happened that it just like my sister's like, I forgot to buy the pies because the school stuff.
Oh, they
Because my
do?
ne yeah, because my nephew's in 8th grade, so there's like so much more stuff to do
Yeah, it's
this year.
busy. It's
and
busy.
it just completely forgot, and now he's got a girlfriend,
Oh,
kind of quasi girlfriend. I kind of figured out because it was raining and he was like, let me walk my school friend to the to her
yeah.
to the car holding an umbrella, and I was like, "Oh." And he's got abs too, which I do not like.
Oh,
It's so funny
yeah,
too
it's
because
that's a
it's
tough
hard, yeah.
age. It's a
Because
hard age.
yeah, he told me, his friends were like, "How do you have abs?" And he goes, "Don't be angry at me because that God gave me a starter pack." Because it's gonna be
Funny.
15 in January, so it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But I don't like it, Rachel. I don't like it. I was like, "Not my baby."
Yeah, they do tend to grow, man.
Oh, poor. My niece is so short. She's not even 5 feet yet. And I keep praying that because my nephew is so tall.
Yeah.
He's like almost as tall as me. He will be taller than me by the end of the year. And I'm like 5'9". And my niece is like, hasn't reached 5 feet yet. And we keep praying that she will because she's 4'9" and some stuff. But she looks like a mini woman. And I'm like, because she's 12 and going on 13. And
Yeah.
I was like, please grow. Because she just like, I hope to grow a little extra because she's the shortest one in the family. Not that, I mean, my sister and my brother-in-law is short, but like, I know, I'm like, I'm
Um,
sorry, sweetheart. So
funny.
weird, like, but.
Well, speaking of a blast from the past, we are talking about 90s Christmas, and it was very interesting because this week I not only saw 90s Christmas, which is about going back to 1999, but I also saw the sort of horror movie Y2K. which is an A24 horror movie that's set in 1999. So it's like everything's talking about 1999. I guess I'm like, we're there as a culture, I guess. Like
I guess
the year
so.
that I graduated, technically, I finished high school in 98, but I didn't actually, my graduating class was 99. So, like, it's basically my graduation year is 99.
Yeah.
And so it was when I was 18. I was like, oh man, we're hitting a lot of nostalgia buttons. And in the Y2K movie, which wasn't that great, I didn't hate it as much as everybody around me was like really down on it. My brother hated it. Like, I really didn't like it. But so I don't know if it just hit some nostalgia. I was like, oh, that was like okay, but not like great. Um, it could have been funnier and scarier. It just was kind of,
Yeah,
but
it's there.
anyway, but they spent so much money on music in that movie. Like it's just loaded with 99 songs.
Trying to
They did
think
not
of
have such
any.
a budget, obviously, for 90s Christmas, but
I'm trying to. I can't even remember a song from
I don't think there
1990.
was. I don't think there
Like,
was. And
oh,
they
they
had
used "Kiss Me" in
they
the
had like
movie.
fake 90s posters and stuff. Did you notice
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. I
She's all
mean,
there poster.
they can't. They don't have the rights for
Yeah.
anything. But I have something to say about the whole glasses. Um, we've
Yeah.
always had glasses to make you look geeky, and now we're putting on glasses to try
So
in vain to make you
I
look like
guess
somebody in your 40s.
so yeah, I guess so glasses now and bangs.
Oh yeah,
Bangs
but
are the key, I guess.
I mean, we might be going jumping up ahead, but like I mean, I was like, in what world could you pass as a 40 something year old with glasses? She looked like
Yeah,
a
it's
baby. She looked so
like
young.
I guess I kind of just thought that they sort of through the magic whatever see her like she looks different to them. You know what I mean? Like the people around her see her as
Yeah, we just
different.
gotta like, it's a movie. We gotta like,
Yeah.
but I just found it so funny with the glasses. I was like, somehow she looked younger with the glasses on than without.
Yeah. So this stars Eva Bourne and Chandler Massey, director Marnie Banak, and writer Ryan Peckinpah. And it's workaholic lawyer Lucy is celebrating her promotion alone on Christmas Eve when a mysterious rideshare experience transports her back to 1999. Reliving the holiday with her mom, sister, and best friend, not to mention her high school crush, Lucy gets a second chance to understand where her relationships went wrong. Will this magical journey help her rewrite her future and leave her destined to be alone? See, there's a lot of interesting things about this movie because I think
Mm.
that if you just accept it as like a fable,
Right.
you don't sort of start to like dive into the logic and what could happen, what's it saying, and I hate the word turn off your brain, but like
Yeah.
if you just kind of accept it as like a broad fable, then it's charming. I thought it was a sweet little movie. But if you start asking questions, there's lots of problems.
There's a lots of also what I found hysterical was that Chandler Massey was also a couple of years ago in Next Stop Christmas, and they're essentially the same movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Like
true. They really
they're
are.
essentially the same movie.
Yeah.
Little tweaks here and there to make it different, but it's the same movie. And I just
Yeah.
laughed, and I was like, "Isn't that funny? He's in both of them."
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest problem, and again, this is when you start asking questions, is that like the ending makes
The
absolutely
ending,
no
I
sense
I would have
because,
rather. Yeah, I'm sorry.
well, I
Continue.
mean, she's going to have this entire life, including birthing children, that that she was not a participant in, that
I
she
think
wasn't there, that she doesn't have that memory, that she wasn't.
My, I'm sorry. My interpretation at the end was when she goes, "You're right. I'm not a divorce lawyer. I'm a real estate lawyer." My interpretation was that she now remembers both lives, that
Hmm.
this new life, her memories are coming to her. But I'm still, I don't like what? I would have rather the movie ended like Next Stop Christmas, where they don't really change anything about her future. She just realized things that she hadn't realized in that year and was more understanding to her family and had a new sense of self within her. And then she meets up with Chandler Massey at the end, and it starts from there where they're beginning. I would have rather she gone back and been like, maybe I won't become partner. Maybe I'll slow it down and then reconnect with Chandler Massey and start from there. Because just it's like I also have a thing, and it's not a big deal, but it was like, oh, her life just wasn't good unless she had a man in it.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie was that she was still traumatized from her father's death and just didn't want to make those connections so it would be less painful. But it still kind of was like, yeah, no, I need a man to fix me, to make my life happy. And I kind of was
Yeah.
like, I don't understand because it would be if she had no memory of her kids or whatever like that. I was like, what kind of could you imagine living with both timelines in your head?
No, and
It
and
would
and to
be
not like have actually been like a sentient entity to make those choices,
exactly
that it doesn't work. And so
like,
like the
could you?
only other solution to this kind of story is to do the like the family man option where you now you're back and then he goes and finds Taya Leone and says, oh, we got to go back there. We got to make what I saw a reality,
Exactly.
like
That would have been better. Yeah.
some.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind the scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Better, but it's still kind of like it's sort of a weird way to end because like the happy ending hasn't really happened, and so it's like that's why I liked uh um the one with James Denton, Kiss Before
Oh,
Christmas.
yes, that was
That's
great.
why I
Yeah, he
liked
saw.
that because they actually took away, not added to.
Yeah,
They took away his stuff instead of, and so then he's like, how do I get that back? And I think that in some ways that's like more compelling because even if you think about It's a Wonderful Life, that's basically what it is. They took away
exactly. It took away his family to
and then
show him how
present this
lucky.
alternate reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, because will she eventually forget all of that and her new reality is what she remembers? And it's not clear, and I guess it's not that big of a deal in the long run when you watch the movie, but like again, you're right, Rachel, when you sit down and you really think about it, like in Next Stop Christmas, she forgets all that. She forgets the train ride, she forgets the time traveling. And she just like it just her life continues on, but you know that she's on a better path. I wish this movie had done the same because I was like, she still worked really hard for what she got. She could have changed,
Yeah.
she could
It's
have
like
slowed
they're
down, changed her
they're
career.
yeah, they're too afraid to make her actually an ice queen of business, to make her
Yes,
actually, a Scrooge type at the beginning. So like she's still helping that woman, and
she
she's
wasn't
still like
a
nice to
terrible
her
person.
assistant.
Yeah, right.
So there's really no need for her to be reformed unless
She could have just made up, yeah, with her family and then
she
had that
just
second
gets
chance with,
she just
yeah.
gets to be partner. This is like a very exciting but like we're supposed to say, oh well, she's actually unhappy even though she doesn't feel
She,
unhappy.
no, that's another good point. I don't think she was ever unhappy. She
No.
just did not make connections. She was estranged from her family and she was afraid because she wasn't a bad person and she loved her job. And I don't understand why, like I said, she could have gone. I think the ending is where it went. astray a bit because had she learned, like, I have to reconnect with my family, I'll get a second chance with Chandler Anstey. But no, she has to change her whole entire life because
Yeah.
somehow it wasn't good enough because she didn't have friends. Well, she could have fixed that. She could have like worked less and made a conscious effort to make friends and stuff like that. You could
Yeah.
have shown that aspect as well. Not that, I don't know. It is weird. The more I think about it, Rachel, the more I'm like, huh.
That's what I'm saying. This movie, like, if you just accept it as like a broad fable,
Yeah, it's
then
totally
it's
fine.
fine and charming. But like, if you start thinking about it, it kind of falls apart.
Exactly, because even when I was over and I was like, wait a minute, is she remembering? But what a nightmare to remember both realities of your life if that so happened. Like, oh, I was 30 years old, like when I had a kid, right? Or whatever, but I was also 30 years old and I accomplished this. And then you're like, which was better? Like you
Yeah.
have like the constant crisis she would be in.
It is weird that the cat barrel ghost person, whatever she is, that she would take her back to the year after her dad died. Because that,
Right.
like, you would just think, because we all know I'm a sucker for somebody seeing their dead relative. That just so emotional. Like, that would have added a lot of emotional intensity to the film if her dad had been there.
I kind
She'd
of
seen
got
him
the
again.
yeah, I kind of got the impression that the grandparents were no longer around.
Yeah, I did get that, but it was just
Yeah,
not,
but it would have been, she could have said like
because
her
she even
piece and a
asks
final goodbye. Yeah.
she even asked Kat, like, why did you take me to this year? And so
Yeah.
basically,
Because
like,
that lady was bad at her job, I think.
mm, I mean, I do agree that the 12 Days of Christmas is the most annoying Christmas song.
Annoying. It
It's the
has
drinking game
grown.
of Christmas songs.
Yeah,
Other
it's like
round.
when you first listen to that song, because it's been around forever. When I was a
Yeah.
child and first listened to it, it's fun. And then it's like, okay, I'm done with this,
It's like, I mean,
What's
by the time you get through five golden rings, four French hens, three,
I'll tell
that
you, the parodies are fun when they
you'd
do
be pretty
parody songs of it.
sloshed.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even. It does get like it does grind like
Yeah.
there are certain Christmas songs that like it's like nails on a chalkboard as you get older. You just like
Yeah.
but I was just talking to my sister the other day about that. It is so rare today for a new Christmas song to become a hit.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so you like when Mariah Carey's song became a hit. And now that's like what over 20 something years old and it's like
Yeah.
that's the last big like new holiday hit. So we're listening to many renditions of
Yeah.
classics.
What you end up having is, yeah, sort of new takes. Like, I remember when the
Yeah.
Bare Naked Ladies, they did their God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, or that was sort of like a new
Yeah.
take on a classic, things like that. But yeah, it is hard to have a
It is hard to,
new Christmas song.
because a lot of them are not good.
No,
And we hear
no.
them in all the Christmas movies. That's how we know.
I guess there's that Ariana Grande, Santa Tell Me. That one's kind of catchy. I liked that song, the one they were playing on Hallmark a lot last year, the Cher.
Yeah, that one wasn't
That one
bad.
was
Yeah.
pretty good. That was pretty good.
Oh,
But
oh,
anyway, they make it
yeah.
like it's like the harbinger of doom is the 12 Days of Christmas in this movie. Like, oh
For
no, it's
real.
playing the song.
Rachel, with a little tweaks, this could have been a Lifetime thriller.
It could have for sure. So they basically say that, like, it's kind of a bummer because she gets like this very exciting news. She's going to be made partner, and everybody's just kind of like, well, you're all alone, so who cares?
Oh, the horror.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't fix that, right? I mean, she's not dead. She's not like, she's just middle-aged.
Yeah.
But she
And
was 19 in 1999, right? Hold on,
yeah,
she would have been my age, 44. She still
yeah,
had plenty of time to course correct.
right. And so in Cat Barrel, she says, like, well, congrats, you have nobody to celebrate your
Wow,
biggest life
that was what
accomplishment
a
with. Like,
diss,
wow,
man.
shoot.
I was like, what a diss.
And
And
she
yeah, it
runs
was
in
kind of sad,
to this guy
she's
Matt at the diner that she was like BFFs with in high school. He's just going through divorce, all this kind of stuff. And she also gets a call from her sister saying, "Why are you ghosting mom?" And the thing is that like it is true that like becoming a partner in a law firm is like
Hard
really
work.
intense. Like it's
Yeah.
tough.
Should have been proud of what she did.
Yeah.
You know?
And whatever career that you are embarking on, you are going to have a time period where you're paying dues. I don't care
Yep.
what you're trying to do. It's
Yeah.
the idea that you can have like a balanced work home life all the time at every
It's
stage of your
impossible.
career is not realistic.
No.
Whether it's
No,
like
it's
your
true.
residency years when you're a doctor, trying to become a doctor, or trying to become partner, there are times when you are going to be the bad person of business in the world of Hallmark. At least it's not going to be
Absolutely.
balanced, and
Yeah.
and that's what but she seemed like pretty happy, and she seemed to have a good relationship with her assistant, even if she didn't know his boyfriend's name. And but still
That
they
was
seemed like
funny.
pretty good friends. And she didn't celebrate Christmas, and so obviously that means she's a bad person.
Boy, it's so funny. Oh, Rachel, I don't know if I like this movie as much anymore as we break it down. I mean,
That's what
it's
I'm
very
saying. Like it
watchable.
is.
It's a very watchable, but the more we talk
Yeah.
about it, I'm like,
um, so then she goes in the cab, and then she ends up at her childhood home. She's like, "What? You were supposed to take me to my apartment, not here." And what did you think of Cat Barrel? Did you think she was fun in this role?
I thought she was fun. I kind of wish it was more, like she had more to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of felt like she just an extended cameo. It kind of felt
Yeah,
like to me. I wish she had more to do in this movie, but I thought she was fine. She's always solid.
yeah, yeah. And so then she's back, and of course, first she's freaking out, and then and she brought her back to the last time you weren't alone, so she wasn't alone, which is, or at least,
Like essentially her last Christmas before she left for college.
hmm.
But how did
And
you think 1999 looked? Do you
it
think they
was
did a good job?
fine. I
It
mean,
was
considering
fine.
a Hallmark budget, like I said, compared to this Y2K movie, like that one had like way more, obviously more of a budget.
I
There
Yeah, I
wasn't
do.
much,
It
but
wasn't much. I thought it was, you could believe it was 1999. I just, I think it was maybe a little too modernized with certain elements of clothing. Because the more I think of it about it, I was like, we were wearing some kind of weird stuff in
it
99.
was a weird era.
It like, yeah, at that time, and I don't think the Y2K panic was enough. Rachel, I remember that so much. Like people were freaking out the world was going to end, and I was
Yeah.
like, calm down, people. We are gonna be fine.
Yeah. No, it's
Especially
true.
around Christmas
It's
time,
true.
the closer it got to the end of the year. But I think it was fine enough, you know.
Yeah.
I did like the Friends gag though, like, oh, well, I quit when, Rachel and
Yeah.
Ross had a baby, and he's like, what? It's like, oh, you haven't gotten there yet?
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. And so it turns out that her so had become estranged from her best friend as well, named Nadine. And Nadine is pretty quick in believing that she's from the future.
Oh yeah.
She buys in real quick. And then you have
What
Matt,
a
who calls her Lobster.
Yeah. What a fun aspect of that movie that they did not do much with. I wish they would have had more with Nadine
Nadine. Well,
and
she tells her buy iPhone stock.
by
Just
Apple stuff.
Apple stock, yeah. That's good advice.
Everybody's
And
advice when
so basically Matt is saying like his school, he could go and be close to Columbia, so they could be close. And she's real nervous. She chickened out in real life about the about with the kiss, and
right.
and at the skating rink. And basically she is told by Cat Barrel, like, you can't change anything. So like, again, why did she send her there if she can't change anything? But of course they kind of, it's like a catch-22 because they want her to change
They
everything, because
do.
then but then
Would
they
have loved it, Rachel, if she would have
yeah
been like, "No, I'm happy. I want to go back." And Cat
yeah,
Barrel's like, "Am I
because
going to get in trouble for this?"
they want her to not change everything, but to actually
change
then
everything.
change everything. Like
Yeah,
to want
it's
it
like,
that bad, to get you want it, the character to want the new life that bad that you're willing to take the risk because that's how much in
okay.
love with him
But
that she is.
here's a question. Obviously, I mean, she dated, she didn't have much of a romantic life because she was working in the future, but would, at her being in her mid 40s, still feel the same about somebody she had a crush on, as a kid and at 19?
I mean,
Would
I
that
guess in the
be
world of this
enough?
movie,
I
there
guess
are
it was
like
enough.
in the world of this movie, they're like soulmates. So yes,
Yeah, yeah.
she would.
I didn't know if I really bought the soulmate because I was like, would she still feel the same? But Hallmark is notorious. Your greatest love is somebody you knew as a
In high
child
school.
and in
Yeah.
high school. Those are your soulmates.
Yeah. I was surprised when she kissed him. She just like sits on his lap and kisses him. And I was like,
Right, because
that was
Nadine is super cool and underused in this movie. She was like, maybe you got to kiss him to get back to the future, because she's watched all these movies, so she knows. And I was like, oh,
and he's like,
Nadine.
can we talk about this?
She's like, nope.
And I do think this was cast pretty well as far as I do think Chandler is about as good as you could get as far as somebody who is it looks old and young for a dude. I think he did pretty good. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
he's not 19, but like or 18. But
He's probably
he
the
looked
oldest in that
he
cast.
has like a young face. I feel like it was like pretty good casting.
Yeah, do you think this is his best Hallmark movie to date? Because he's been in a few now.
Let me see.
I still think he was very fun in Next Stop Christmas, but I think he was fun in this one as well. It's very charming.
Ooh, I really hated that professional bridesmaid
Yeah, he
movie.
hasn't been in like and
Tale of Two
Mr.
Christmases, that was kind of fun.
Oh, I forgot he was in that one too.
Hmm.
He's quickly amassing like quite a few
Mr.
Hallmark
Christmas,
movies.
that was better.
Yeah.
That was
I
better
don't
than
know,
this.
you know. I think but he's
Yeah,
very likable in this movie, I think.
he is very
And he's
likable.
probably the most I think I may be wrong. Maybe because he's from soap, so when you watch people for many years, you get the ages confused. But I do think he's probably the closest to the age in the present than some of the rest of the cast. Because Ava Bourne, like she looked so incredibly young, but I don't know how old she is in real life. She just might be a very youthful looking person.
Hallmarkies, it's time to spruce up your Christmas season with holiday romances and dreamy happily ever afters. So pick up some festive fiction for yourself and gift another to the book lover in your life. Christmas at Sugar Plum Manor will transport you to the Nutcracker-inspired Edwardian era with a childhood friends to lovers romance. A hometown Christmas reunion at Second Chance Romance in the Christmas Catch will appeal to fans of the sports romance trope. The Christmas Tree Farm will delight with a breath of crisp, piney air at the family tree farm and a battle of wills with an ex-boyfriend. Make a holiday return to Prince Edward Island with a bit of matchmaking and meddling with mistletoe. Cozy up during the chilly weather and grab these books for 30% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com. That's bakerbookhouse.com.
It was so hard to believe that she was older in the future.
Yeah.
But it's a movie. Like I might be. I think maybe we're delving a little too deep into it.
That's what I'm saying about this movie. Well, I mean, if you went back to 1999, what do you think you
Oh,
would appreciate the most or be the most excited about?
I have no idea. It was an uneventful
Yeah, I
year.
mean, it was actually a pretty exciting year for me, not only because it was my first year of college, but and I got into the college I really wanted to, my dream college. And I don't know, there's just so few things in life that really live up to the hype, you know? And I had always wanted to go to BYU my whole life, and I was like the big dream, but I was never an academic. And so the fact that I was able to get in with a not that great of ACT score was so exciting. And remember when I opened up my letter saying I got in and just like screaming
So, but there's
So
nothing that
it
you
was
would
a
change.
very
Yeah.
happy time for me. I mean, it's interesting because my family moved my senior year of high school. So I didn't really have any friends where my parents were at that time. But it was just, I think about it quite fondly. Especially I think of those college years quite fondly. And
Think I'm trying to think of 19. It wasn't that remarkable of a year. I My father had been gone. My father had already passed away the year before, and we moved. And I suppose my sister started dating my brother-in-law, and they've been together ever since then.
uh
But, other than that, it was unremarkable. There's nothing I would really want to change. I was just like really thinking if there was anything groundbreaking
yeah.
at that point because I was 19 and I was like, not really. Not
Yeah,
really. I've never,
I get that. And
I
it's
wouldn't want to go
so
back though, Rachel. No. I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to relive. Like I would
I
not
would
want to go back to
definitely,
19.
if I was going to go back, I would definitely pick college years over high school years.
Yeah,
Even though I
19
didn't
is
hate
not.
being in high school, but still, no.
I think I'd want to go back to when I was 25 and make some
Mm,
changes, like in my mid 20s.
mm,
I think that's the
yeah.
pick. I think 19 is still too young
Yeah,
to want to go
that's
back.
true. Because when I, from like 26 to 29 is when 28 I was in, that's when the years I was in this job that I just was so unhappy and I just hated, and so I would
Yeah.
probably go back to
Yeah,
26 and be like,
I do.
leave now, don't wait, why are you doing this?
Because, that's another thing too. She's at 19 and she does have her life. She does remember the life that she has to finally make that change. She knows what she lived, but
Yeah,
that's a heavy thing at 19 to decide, and I don't
yeah,
really think she made originally a bad choice. I just think that,
it's just
she was
hard
just
because they don't make her seem
isolated
unhappy.
person.
She seems
No,
perfectly happy,
that's
and so
yeah, she seemed perfectly happy and fine. And it was
because
like, oh, look
Hallmark
at
can't do that. They can't have their heroine. It's like their that country
what
music Christmas Carol thing
oh
that
yeah, they
Becky
can't
Graham, like people were literally begging to work for her. Like it was like, what is this Scrooge? Like
it's it's so
it's
funny
no
because when she's at
Scrooge.
the diner celebrating and having the pancakes,
Yeah.
her promotion, yeah, she's by herself and she's um getting the pancakes, but and then she meets up with I forget Chandler Massey's name, and that's like they haven't seen each other for years, and he's like, "Oh, this is how you're celebrating?" And I'm like, "What's wrong with having pancakes? That sounds like fun to me."
Yeah, I know. So like the letter, her partnership letter keeps fading. And then
Yeah,
like
that
the
was a
with
nice
each
touch.
change that she makes, but then when she starts bringing things back to where she left it, it starts to come back. And that seems to be what the Cat Barrel character wants her to do. But then Nadine says, well, I can't believe you're just giving up. So
Mm.
obviously, like the writers of this movie want her to make change, want her to feel, and so we want that letter, unlike in Back to the Future, where we don't want the people in the photograph to be disappearing. In this
Exactly. We
case, we
want that
actually
letter. Yeah.
want the letter to be disappearing, which was like her big accomplishment. So it's a little strange.
Well, it's only work. It doesn't involve like people. So it was like it's okay. You'll
Yeah.
find another
It's
career
like people
path.
aren't dying. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's
That's
another thing
true.
too. Like it's not that she didn't become a lawyer. She was a lawyer. She just went into another field of it.
Yeah.
So she does, accomplish a dream of hers of going to law
Yeah.
school.
It was kind of
The-
funny because like I guess her mom sort of gave up baking after
yeah, look,
eventually
yeah.
gave up baking, and because she goes back and she's like, oh, I forgot how good a baker you were.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
but
there's
she hasn't
this
been home in 10 years, so she
that's
probably
true,
did forget.
but there's the scene with her eating the largest cupcake I've ever seen. Like it had so much frosting and so
Right,
much
so
like
they bought that cupcake from Costco's because
yeah.
Costco's or BJ's. If anybody has that
Yeah.
in their areas, those cupcakes are so large and are always. I bought a coffee cake from Costco's one time, right? I was like, this ain't gonna be so bad. It had frosting on it. I cut into it, bit a little, ate a little piece with the frosting and passed out. And I was like, I can never eat this again because it's
So
you.
she ends up writing a
I'm
letter
so
to
impressed.
Nadine, and then she she tells Matt that she has always loved him and that she wants to be with him. And then he says, I love you too. And then we get this like montage of the life that they had together and having kids and whatever. And then she is all of a sudden back in 2024, but has kids and it's just like, even if she technically did remember those things now, she wasn't like an active participant. Like, it's just not this,
No.
like, it doesn't make sense. And so, but I have sympathy for the writer because how do you end this thing? Like,
It's true because it's
what do you
also
do?
apparently her life choices affected his life choices as well because he never continued his dream of trying to pursue being an actor.
Right.
So his life kind of depended on like his happiness because he was going through a divorce and I guess he just when you saw who he eventually marries in the flashbacks and she's so thirsty for this guy, it's so funny.
Yeah,
But
and now her life is going to be impacted by this. So,
exactly,
like,
because it seems like he was unhappy because she chose to go to a different college.
it's a time ripple all over the place
Yeah,
now.
so see, they
She could
didn't
be with other
really.
people and then possibly have like children with other people, and then
Yeah,
like,
that's
I mean,
like
it
that's
just
a beat.
it's
Yeah,
messy.
that is a beat that they don't really touch upon
No.
how much of her decision affected him. And in reality, why would it? Why
Hmm.
would that affect, his
Because she
choices?
wasn't there to like
Because
encourage
she
him
wasn't
to
there to
be an
encourage him, but
actor.
like his family was encouraging to him.
Hmm.
He was not alone. Uh, so I
I
mean,
think
those are
you got
just,
to do the family man route. I think it's the only
yeah,
viable way, even though it's a little bit underwhelming because they kind of start with nothing. I still think that's the only way that makes sense. I think you got to. So she has this experience. She wakes up, literally, she wakes up, say, in the cab,
yeah,
and she steps out the cab. And then she steps out of the cab. He's still at the diner. She goes, finds him, and says,
exactly. That would have been a
hey,
much better
that
ending.
would
Yeah.
that would have been the way to do it. Yeah.
That would have been, yeah, kind of like Next Stop Christmas ended.
Yeah.
Almost the same way she sees him after she gets off the train. And I think that would have been, since they're
But aren't
essentially
they
the same movie, it would
don't
have
they
been
meet
fine to
up
end it.
they meet up at like a restaurant or something like that?
Yeah, because they meet up when she gets off the train and then they go to the restaurant. And you could
Oh, they
tell,
go to
like,
the
oh, they're going to
restaurant.
reconnect and they're going to be together now. I kind of
Yeah.
wish it was like that because I do think there's a lot going on in this movie and it's not bad, but like, I feel like kind of missed opportunities here and there. And it is, this movie did get into a trap, like, how do we end it? So we have to kind of rush that conclusion. It's still worth a watch. I mean, the actors are fine. I think it's a good cast, but yeah, the more you think about it, the more I'm scratching my head over it. And I'm like, ugh, but
Yeah.
not the
So
worst
what would
movie to
you give it?
watch.
1 to 5
Oh,
crowns.
no, like maybe a 2.7. The more I think about it, the less. I just think the ending
Yeah.
really, really gets me. And I think that's what I have the most trouble
Yeah.
with in this movie.
Probably I'm gonna say some maybe surprising. I give it like a 3.5 because I do
Yeah,
think that it's overall entertaining and I liked
it
the
is.
cast and so I think if you just accept it as like a fable and again
Yeah.
don't dive deep into it. So don't listen to this whole part of this podcast because I think we just ruined it. But I don't know, but like a 3.25, 3.5, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending doesn't really. What I wrote after I saw it, I said the ending to this doesn't really work. And
No.
but if you can ignore that, it's pretty fun fable for the
Yeah.
holidays.
And there are some funny moments in it. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Let's talk about Deck the Walls. So Deck the Walls, this stars Ashley Greene and Wes Brown. And it is written, it's interesting because in a post, I think that Julie Sherman Wolfe had done, she had listed Deck the Walls as being written by Tracy Andreen in there. And then, but Danny Pellegrino posted on his Twitter yesterday that he wrote it. That was his first Hallmark movie to be produced. And he's like a podcaster, actor, writer, evidently. That I've seen his name around. I know he did a couple episodes with the Bubbly Sash when they were doing their thing, things like that. So I know that name, Danny Pellegrino. So I don't know if Julie was just wrong about Tracy doing the Deck the Halls, or if because Deck the Walls, because she's not on the IMDb. There's no writer listed on the IMDb. So, or if she was also involved, and then maybe she was like a cleanup, right? Who knows? I have no idea. But anyway, Danny Pellegrino definitely was. This was his script, and he was tweeting about it and everything. So. Rose is a Chicago-based interior designer whose brother Sal is responsible for a charity Christmas flip back in their suburban Ohio hometown. When a budget to crisis puts this important project in danger, Rose reluctantly returns during the holidays to try to save the day. Not ready to face the ghosts of her past, Rose's plan is to get in, get done, and get out ASAP. But before she knows it, she's face to face with Bryson, her brother's best friend, contractor, and who just so happens to be the bane of Rose's youth. With the help of friends and family and buoyed by the season of giving, the trio figures out a way to work together for this worthy cause. As Rose works, she discovers an unexpected love and deeper purpose along the way. So it was kind of funny that it's always funny in any kind of movie sphere when like a bunch of writers all have the same kind of idea. Because I swear this is like the third or fourth house flipping movie we've gotten this season. I mean, of course, definitely the Santa Tell Me.
Yes.
It's all about house flipping. But it just seems like there's been a bunch that are involved in some kind of renovating or house. A lot of real estate happening.
Too much
this season.
Too much real estate this season. That is true. That is
which is funny.
True.
But overall, what do you think of this one?
It was fine. I thought.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I kind of didn't like her that much though. But I think it's just perfectly fine. I think it was. It's fine.
Yeah, I had it pretty low in my rankings for the season, but it's perfectly serviceable.
It's completely serviceable, very watchable. It's fine.
Yeah.
Wes Brown is too cute in it.
I said this was pretty basic and has some of the most gratuitous product placement of the year.
We'll talk more about that. Rachel, I know.
But
I fell out of my seat.
But it was perfectly pleasant and enjoyable.
It is. It is enjoyable. It's like it's a good watch, but it is like if it kind of gets lost in the sea of movies with almost kind of the same theme.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when you make like over 100 Christmas movies a year and you watch them all. Those things kind of like tend to blend in together. But I did the Home Goods at the time. What I also laughed so hard was when they're buying Christmas trees. I nearly passed out. And he's like, oh, I got a text from my parents. And he shows the most generic picture. And he's like, oh, look. They sent me a picture of Bululuche. And I nearly passed out. And I was like, they just Googled it. I wonder if that was a sponsor too, but it had no name to it.
Yeah.
Just Googled the most basic picture of that, and I was I got a good chuckle about that. And I was like, oh no. He's
Yeah,
like,
they
your
were
parents
going
live in.
through the stock photo
It was
on that
so
one.
funny because I could Google that right now and find that picture. And I was so, and then somebody goes, yes, it's a Portuguese tradition. And he explains what it is. And I was just laughing maniacally after that. I was shocked. And then I got
Yeah.
so
Well,
funny.
we forgot to mention in 90s Christmas that her sister, there is also a sweet moment where her sister
Yeah.
is gay and she talks to her and says that I know that you're scared about this. And
Not enough with.
that was a really nice moment.
It was. It was very sweet, very caring, but there wasn't enough with the sister. I wish there was more.
Yeah, there wasn't much. And but it was a pretty nice tender moment of
It
love
was,
between two
totally.
sisters. And then we also have here in this one we have Sal, brother Sal, and then his it's kind of an enemies to lovers relationship with Jake
Yes.
Hunter.
And I think they do a good job in portraying the frenemy, so to
Uh-huh.
speak, of like what he's what do
Yeah.
you mean that's an interview? I didn't say okay to that. And he's like, we're done, like
Hmm.
there's a good animosity
Yeah,
that you
he's a reporter. They're doing this house flipping for Christmas. I mean, I would think that you would rather have the house done well than have it be rushed just so it can make a Christmas deadline.
right.
Like,
Yes,
why
there
not
was some
just have like maybe the main room done by Christmas?
right.
No, and then everything
Well, I
else.
mean, the whole plot was like they could have gotten it done, but their budget was slashed, and now they're in a crunch where
Uh-huh.
so that's why they need the sister to come back and help and all that. And
But I
I
think
don't
that
know.
if this is Danny, if it's Tracy, I think that shows some potential for writing. Like there were some funny lines when he
Oh
says, "Nice to
yeah.
meet you, trust issues, I'm avoidance." Oh, you go to
Yeah.
therapy. That was
I
funny.
did I did love when the mayor is telling them and he's like, "What do you mean? We've lost the money." And Wes Brown is like, "Calm down." And then it's like, "We're going to be interviewed on live TV." And he's like, "What?" There were a lot of like funny moments like when they found out they were sharing a bathroom because they live in the aunt's house. They're staying in the aunt's house. And
Yeah.
so they do have some funny, cute moments. Oh, and a shout
Yeah.
out too, which I was excited was the aunt is played by Caroline Hennessy, and she's a General Hospital, and I was like, "Ooh, my soap stars are all
Oh,
over
nice.
this weekend."
And I did think he had pretty nice chemistry between Jake and Sal. Like
Yes.
that, it was a nice dynamic. And
Yeah.
so she has this because their parents have both, so her parents have both died. And so
Hmm.
she's really struggling with that. And there's this what do you call it? Like a Christmas tree trinket. And he ends up breaking it and she's devastated, very upset. And I kind of get that. You do have those things that have that sentimental value.
Yeah.
And it's can be really hard after someone's gone.
Yeah, that can be hard, but it was an accident. But of course, he fixes it for her towards
Yeah.
the end, so everything works out. Which is ironic, Rachel, because that's twice this week that I saw a movie with that same plot line. One of the Up TV Christmas movies also has
Uh-huh.
that. I just realized that right now.
But there was some nice banter, like when they were talking about you are a cute, cute mess. And I
Yeah.
used to have such a crush on you. You never noticed me. I noticed you now. Like, that's nice. That's a nice banter. Like, I'm definitely
Yeah.
curious to see what Danny can do next because it was
Yeah,
good.
there's definitely,
It was a good script.
it was little flirty moments. It is a really
Uh-huh.
good script. How do you feel like they handled his ex-wife, I think they handled that pretty well, where they
So
didn't,
like he sees his ex, and then like later on, she's in line and she sees the ex getting the coffee and saying, "Hey, I'm bringing these for my ex. We're gonna get back together." And
yeah,
so then she freaks out about it.
yeah, so, but I like just like, I mean, they portrayed her kind of villainous, and then not because they meet up, she's engaged, and then you find out and of course, because they're high school and college sweethearts, and she dumped him for another man. And so, and I think they handled that well. Like, they didn't make her a super arch villain. It didn't work out, but it It was a little funny that
Yeah.
they had to somehow shoehorn her back in just
Yeah,
to
one
make
of
that
those like
obstacle.
yeah,
Yeah,
one of those hallmarks you have this like very strong reaction to something instead of just asking a question. Are you going
yeah.
back together with
I,
your ex? Like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, I gotta
I
leave the state
I have the
immediately.
feeling that was a note on the script when it came back. Can you write that in? We've got to
Yeah.
check mark this on the log because there was really no need for the ex-wife to be there at all.
Yeah, I could see that.
Outside of just her being an obstacle to make them or make her like leave.
Yeah, sometimes I think that they feel like they need more conflict in these movies than they
Yeah,
actually
they
do.
don't.
They
No, I
really
know they
don't.
don't. They don't
And
really
and
need that.
so then we do get the gratuitous Nutella product placement. This was a
So funny.
long scene. They're making these cookies. They're
So it's a
decorated with
montage,
Nutella.
Rachel, which is
It was
hysterical because they have more than one Nutella on the counter, like Nutella jar on the counter. And first of all that looked delicious.
it did look
But it was a whole montage of that, and it is funny. But
yeah, I
listen,
mean, the
you
thing
got
that
to
I
get the
just
money where you got to get the
yeah,
money, right?
I just am always kind of baffled. Like, yeah, I know they
I
say that
wonder.
like that you have to have I've heard in marketing they say that you have to have 7 impressions of something before it
Mm,
like actually makes an impact. So like this could be impression number 6 or like whatever, and then
I do
when they're
wonder
at the
how
store, oh
much,
yeah, like I
how
think
much was.
that's the
I'm
idea
thinking,
behind it, but
yeah,
like does it really work? Like it must, because they keep doing it. Like it
it
must
must because we
show
keep making fun of it.
it must show some kind of results, because they keep doing it. And I
But
watch it and I think, who on earth would be like,
I
oh, I
mean,
gotta go pick up some Nutella? But they must be hoping for that more like subtle one of your
I know.
7. I don't know. It's so weird.
So I'm gonna tell you this right now. I did make a Nutella sandwich. Some
You did.
Nutella on some toast with some peanut butter right after that. That's what I did. So it worked
So
on
it
me. But I
worked.
already had, yeah, I already had some in my.
I mean, I
But
don't
here's
need
the
it.
thing too, like that must have been a substantial check because just it was a
It was
montage.
long.
It was
It was
long and it was a
long.
montage, and it was like the home goods where she's standing in front with the shopping bags, almost like she's posing for a picture
It really was. It's so you
in the
had
parking
like
lot. They
the
couldn't go
whole
inside the store,
sign.
Rachel. They couldn't go inside the store. They had to do it in the parking lot, and that stuff made me laugh. Though at
It
least
was
it was
really
done in a
funny.
kind of cheeky way.
Yeah.
No, maybe unintentionally so, but it was funny.
So they
But
find out that the house flipping all of a sudden has been paid by these mysterious benefactors. And so that's how they're able to get it done before Christmas, because they get this
they get more
budget.
money, yeah.
Yeah. And so who are the mysterious benefactors?
But isn't it just like the government, Rachel, to like promise you this amount of money for this project and then take half of that money away for something
Mm-hmm.
else? So
Right.
I felt
Yeah.
that was very, though they try to make it like, oh, but it was mold. And I was like, at least they gave a purpose here because I was like,
Yeah.
because my mind was like, just like the government to like take away from you.
So they have like different activities that they do. They decorate trees. They go tree shopping, and then decorating, and then
Yeah.
they go skating. So there were a lot of cute like scenes in
The
this.
normal Christmas things, to decorate the
Yeah.
tree, the baking with the Nutella and the
Hmm.
ice skating.
And
So
so when she sees the ex and saying, "Oh, we're gonna get back together," she like freaks out, and she goes and gets hit the gift that he's given her and her stuff, and she's heading home. She's in the airport, and then he says, "This has Runaway Bride written all over it."
for sure. How long do you think that live segment was? Because, and I had the same question with like the Jingle Bell Run. Like, why did they have people like follow them constantly around to see every moment that they were doing? Like, so they
Right.
just show up,
Yeah.
walk in, and it's over. So it's like a 5 minute segment. And I don't know if live TV, like, that would be enough.
No.
Unless
No.
it's a news segment, right?
Yeah, if it's like an interstitial, like,
Yeah,
hey,
but
we're
like,
breaking
I
up
was
this
like, I don't
program
know.
to see the reveal of the. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
oh, well,
true.
maybe if it was on TikTok or something like that to watch a 3 minute show each week. I don't know, maybe, but it's weird.
there's just been a bunch of
this year too.
like,
There's also the one with Kat Barrel and Tyler Hines, the car one. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, there's that.
It
Yeah, there've
seemed
been a bunch
like
of
what
those
they
TV
filmed.
ones.
Yeah, it seemed like what they filmed was like 5-minute episodes, and I kind of feel like what they were, because I didn't quite know if they were just news segments or if it was like a show. And maybe I missed that and I didn't pay attention well enough to that part. But I was like, they're gonna show it live on TV. But like when she came to reunite with him, they were all in the freshly done house. I was like, are the cameras still rolling? Is the cameras catching that kiss?
Yeah.
But no, I don't think so. So
Yeah. I
not
don't
that
think,
that's
I
important
don't
to the
know.
plot at all.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just me nitpicking.
So luckily she's at the airport, but she was way early.
Oh yeah, enough to watch that
Like,
live too.
yeah, the
Yeah.
whole day she sees it and she opens the present and it's a replacement of the tree
Was it a
trinket.
replacement or did he fix it?
Oh, I thought it was a replacement, but it could be fixed.
No, because it looked brand new. So I mean, there were no
It
cracks
looked
in it.
new. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it could be. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not sure
And
either.
and she says, I left because I was scared of my feelings. And he
Feeling.
says that her ex is named Sterling. She has more than one ex, lady.
Yeah,
And
I mean, she literally told him that. I mean, he literally told her she left me for another man.
the
That's
truth
why he was
is, you're the
devastated
only one I think about. And so,
recently.
yeah. So they're talking about that they want to get clients to help with fundraising, and they learned that their Gigi is the mysterious benefactor, and that Jake is also that there's two.
Yeah.
Jake is also mysterious benefactor.
I do like it that she doesn't need to come back home. She doesn't need to move back home into her. She gets to still go back to where she's living, and he is going to go with her to
Yeah.
help with, as a contractor and to help her out with these home renovations and stuff like that. So that's a nice, and because usually it's like, I'm going to give up everything and move back home. And this one didn't have that. This one is
Mhm.
like, we're going to continue to do good work, but where we live, where we're currently based at.
Yeah. So what would you give this one?
I'd give it a 3. It's solid.
Same. That's what I would give it. It's watchable. I think it shows potential for the screenwriter there, and it was perfectly pleasant. But yeah, it's just kind of generic, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I would give it, is a 3. So let us know what you think of these two movies. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, especially what you thought of 90s Christmas, what you thought about the madness with the time travel.
I might have been overthinking. I mean, it's like simple, but I do think that it's a simple plot, but I do think, I way overthought it.
Yeah. Well, let us know. Maybe you even overthought it even more than we did. We'd love to hear in the comments section. And Terry, where can people follow you?
Twitter at Flurry Heaven.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And this was kind of fun. Deck the Walls was pretty much the only Christmas movie this year that filmed in Utah. I think probably because of the strike, because there's usually more than that. But this one I was hoping to see more of Utah, but you really didn't see that much. But it was kind of fun. And I will probably be talking about it this weekend, this Friday on KSL, the movie show. I've been doing a segment on there each week. And I would love if you all check that out and support that, and let them know that you like having me on. That would be super cool. But that's been fun over at the movie show on KSL 1160 radio, and on their website you can listen to the episodes. And so check that out, and also make sure you're following us at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really, really helps us a lot. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group and merch store. Check that out. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye.